This is for Palestine, Ramallah, West Bank, Gaza. This is for the child that is searching for an answer. Wish I could take your tears and replace them with laughter. Long live Palestine, long live Gaza. Palestine, Ramallah, West Bank, Gaza. This is for the child that is searching for an answer.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Free, free.
Palestine.
Free, free.
Palestine.
In our thousands, in our millions.
We are all Palestinians.
Shut your mouth.
Sanction Israel, do your job.
Simon Harris, shut your mouth.
Sanction Israel, do your job.
Simon Harris, shut your mouth.
Sanction Israel, do your job.
Free, free.
Palestine.
Free, free.
Palestine.
Free, free.
Palestine.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Occupation no more.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Occupation no more.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Israel is a terrorist state.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Israel is a terrorist state.
Zionist ambassador.
Out, out, out.
U.S. troops.
Out, oh, shout it.
U.S. troops.
Out, oh, shout it.
U.S. troops.
Out, oh, shout it.
U.S. troops. Free, free.
Here we are today in the aftermath of the general election with a strong sense of deja vu in the air. As the saying goes, everything changes but nothing changes. But for us in this campaign, I believe that whoever takes their seats on the front benches inside and not placed behind, we will continue to fight for our demands. We will continue to fight for action against Israel, for sanctions, and for the ending of the use of Shannon Airport for the transport of US troops and weapons to Israel. And it has to be said that the previous government had an abysmal record on that issue. Worse than abysmal, it has been complicit in the genocide going on against the Palestinian people. And they were shamed by the movement. While they refused to act, we went in our thousands to Shannon and we protested and demanded that that airport be shut to US troops and their weaponry. And instead of taking action to meet those demands, I might say, of the international courts, they chose instead the Irish state to arrest our protesters. We now have 13 members of our campaign before the court.
Israeli snipers and quadcopters are shooting children in the heads and chests. Quadcopters are killing people who go to rescue others. There are multiple arbitrary executions of families. There are so many crimes that we don't even hear about. So much to be revealed and so many war criminals to be held accountable. Tents, blankets, clothes, soap, all blocked entry to Gaza by Israel. They have banned anesthetics. There is no rationale for this, only cruelty and making life unlivable. How is it possible that the military of a state under investigation for genocide can bomb and besiege hospitals, murder and kidnap patients, doctors, nurses? How is it possible that Israel can attack the Kamal Adwan hospital for weeks, dropping shrapnel-filled bombs on the medics there? That it can murder the head of the ICU? This week, the hospital's director, Dr. Hossam Abu Safiya, said, "We are exhausted by the ongoing violence. Why are we subjected to such brutality?" And that is the question. What kind of racist international system allows Palestinians to be mass murdered day after day in full view of the world with absolutely no consequences? The international community is fully complicit, and that shamefully includes this state. We remind them again that collective punishment is illegal, and this is a racist world we refuse to inhabit. Last Saturday, Israel murdered humanitarian aid workers from the Gaza Soup Kitchen, the World Central Kitchen, and Save the Children. It has murdered 341 aid workers in Gaza. When did this become normalized? This is deliberate targeting of the people who sustain life. Doctors, nurses, cooks. A constant attack on everything that makes life possible, along with their ecocide, scholasticide, and domicide. Israel has murdered 191 Palestinian journalists, deliberately targeting them to stem the flow of news and evidence of its war crimes. And it is shameful that there isn't more solidarity from their international peers. Every international news outlet should be screaming about this and screaming for access to Gaza. Another 3 Palestinians died in apartheid Israel's dungeons last week. There are unspeakable crimes being committed against Palestinian men, women and children in these prisons, which are torture and death camps, full of brutality, emotional, sexual and physical abuse. The prisoners must be freed. It could not be more blatant. Israel's plan is to steal as much Palestinian land as possible, to ethnically cleanse it, to settle Gaza and as much of the West Bank as it can. Every day, Israeli politicians and military commanders announce their intent to commit genocide and war crimes. They are open about the crimes they are committing because they know no matter what they say or what atrocities they perpetrate, there is total impunity and no consequences. Shame on every government and state, including ours, not sanctioning these genociders. Israel is under investigation by the International Court of Justice for Genocide. The ICJ confirmed that it's committing the crime of apartheid and that the occupation is illegal. Its Prime Minister Netanyahu and former Minister for Defence Gallant are wanted by the International Criminal Court for war crimes and crimes against humanity. It is a rogue, genocidal, apartheid state, and our government needs to stop pretending that it is a normal state. There will be accountability. There will be a reckoning. These war criminals should all be prosecuted, and so genocide at Shannon Airport. And shame on them for allowing Israeli weapons through our airspace. But we have to have hope. This is a long struggle, and even when it seems so grim and bleak, we cannot give up. All this work, this collective solidarity and action is working. It is chipping away at apartheid. The pressure from this movement has pushed our government to recognise the state of Palestine, to promise to enact the Occupied Territories Bill, to co-sponsor the Palestine motion at the UN General Assembly, to say that support South Africa's case at the ICJ, and to call for suspension of the EU-Israel trade agreement. This all comes from pressure from below, from us. So we have to keep working, increase the pressure, and ensure that this new government acts. How many people would still be alive if they had been imposed sanctions even a year ago? How many beautiful lives saved? Yet again, we remind our outgoing and incoming government that they must act to prevent genocide. This is not optional. This is a legal obligation, and this is a moral obligation. Micheál Martin and Simon Harris said they would enact the Occupied Territories Bill if they were re-elected. So let's see them keep their promises and hold their feet to the fire. We don't want a watered-down version of the bill. We demand something meaningful. There are no more excuses. We want sanctions, and we want them now. They have to enact the Occupied Territories Bill, enact the illegal Israeli settlements divestment bill, enact the arms embargo bill, tell the Israeli ambassador she's not welcome back. We are still trading with Israel, and that has to stop. Our central bank is selling Israeli war bonds, and that has to stop. And we need to get Israeli weapons out of our airspace. Get the US military out of Shannon, and sanction Israel now. The boycott is growing, and last week the BDS movement announced that following the 5-year boycott Puma campaign, Puma no longer sponsors the Israel Football Association. So well done to everyone who campaigned for years and boycotted Puma. Keep it up. The Israeli economy is tanking, and brand Israel is toxic. Boycott Israel all day, every day. For over a year, and for longer for many, we have stood together for Palestinian liberation and against apartheid Israel's genocide, racism, and settler colonialism. We can't stop now, and we won't stop now. Be proud to be part of this huge global movement of love and solidarity. Keep imagining a liberated Palestine, because that's what Palestinians are living and fighting for. With every dish they make to share with their neighbours, with every family they support, with every patient they treat with care, every story they report to the rest of the world, with every child they teach in tents, every structure they build, every plant they grow, every painting, every poem, every dance, every haircut, every single act of love, of dignity, of defiance, of breathing. Their existence is resistance, and we honour their struggle. And remember that solidarity is a verb. We mourn the dead, and we fight for the living, for the prisoners, for the refugees, for all our Palestinian sisters and brothers. We fight for freedom for Palestine, for justice for Palestine, and it is coming. We would see a free Palestine, and it would set us all free. From Ireland to Palestine.
and your determination not to give up, to fight until you win. So I've got a couple of announcements. Firstly, you've heard about our work today from Zoe, and we would like, if you could please give a donation to our campaign to help fund everything we do in solidarity. There are people just coming through the crowds there with the QR codes. If you could please take your cameras out again and take photographs of these, and if you can, share them to your other friends and family over Christmas, you know, rather than buying you a useless, I don't know, box of celebrations. Give the money to the Irish Palestine Solidarity Campaign. Okay, behind me there is a banner for a demonstration. Well, the banner is a demand that the central bank stop financing genocide bonds. And this coming week, on the 13th, we have a demonstration outside the central bank from 12:30 to 2 o'clock. So get along there if you can and lend your voice. And finally, this placard is about a Hunger for Justice campaign, which is an all-day fast on Thursday, the 12th of December. And there are groups from all over the country taking part in this. I know from Cove that many of our members are involved, and I'm sure you are too. But if you haven't already signed up, please do so. Come to the ISPC website and sign up to take part. Thank you, everybody. So next, onto the stage, to give us a performance today is Steve Wall. Steve is a musician, singer, songwriter and actor. He is a founding member of the multiple platinum-selling Irish band The Stunning. He's long been an outspoken supporter of Palestinian freedom, and it is a true honour to have him today. Again, please welcome him onto the stage.
Thank you very much. I'm not going to be singing any songs about a storm today. I don't want to encourage anymore. I'll just say a couple of words. After over a year of genocide, there is the danger of becoming immune to the numbers of dead and injured. This is happening. That is why it is the duty of decent human beings to keep talking about Palestine. We may feel helpless, but there's a lot we can do. We can talk to our young people, we can talk to our friends, we can support the amazing students who have staged protests all over the world in universities. We can petition our government, we can march, and we can boycott. We must let the next Irish government know that sanctions, not words, are what are required right now. Netanyahu has no problem breaking international laws, yet our government has been stalling the passing of the Occupied Territories Bill, citing concerns about breaching EU legislation. We are telling our government, enact the Occupied Territories Bill, the Illegal Settlements Bill and the Arms Embargo Bill. End all the weapons transfers through Irish airspace and officially recognise that a genocide is taking place right now. What's happening in Palestine is a disgrace to humanity. It is the death of the human soul. I'm tired of all that. I'm tired of all that. I'm tired of have your scandals, your crooks and your vandals. I'm tired of your ways. I'm sick to the teeth. Yeah, I'm sick to the teeth. Some men are so ill they can butcher and kill for what they believe. I cried when I read there's a boy nearly dead. They shot him with holes and then broke a few bones. Aren't you tough men? Do you dream in your sleep? Do you dream in your sleep? You left him half dead and you went home to bed. Your wife took your coat and she made you some toast. Can you hear him moan? Men without souls, men without souls. The whole world is filled with them, dragging their filth with them. Madmen will kill for them, their mothers still feel for them. Men without souls. Free Palestine!
So our next speaker today is Tala Alahi. Tala is a Palestinian psychotherapist, human rights activist and hip-hop artist from the West Bank. He has made Ireland his home away from Palestine, his second home. He's performed his music at a number of his demonstrations already, but today he's going to be speaking to us. Welcome him, please.
And I would like to go back to February 2022, when Amnesty International published their report that Israel is an apartheid state. And to remember when Richard Boyd Barrett from People Before Profit brought it to the Dole, Michael Martin, who was the Taoiseach then, he said the term apartheid is not helpful. However, he didn't suggest any helpful term or any way to go around it or any strategic step to tackle apartheid. And after Israel saw that nobody really cared, that there are huge evidence and documentations to show and footage and solicitor lawyers saying that this is plain apartheid, of course they will go the next step and commit a genocide. And Amnesty International again on Thursday, after massive research, they published a report saying that Israel is committing the crime of genocide. And for people who don't know what account for genocide, according to the Genocide Convention, that there's this big paper, the gentleman there has the big banner, the white one, speaks about what genocide is. An Article 2 in the definition of genocide, Amnesty International report demonstrates that a genocide should be having five or any of five characters. The first one of them is killing members of the group, where genocide is defined as any of the following acts committed with the intent to destroy in whole or part a national, ethnic, racial or religious group. And the first one is killing a member of them, and Israel is doing this. The second one is causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, and Israel is doing this. And the third one that Amnesty emphasized on a lot, deliberately inflicting conditions of life circulating to life calculated to bring about the group's physical destruction. And all these things we've been asking the Irish government to take in consideration in their policies and to sanction Israel. Even though apartheid is a crime that the Irish government should impose sanctions on Israel for, they ignored it. They said, no, it's not helpful to call it apartheid. And now internationally, it's acknowledged by members of the United Nations and now Amnesty International, it's genocide, and we want to see what the Irish government would do. Because if you go to Article 3, which the report didn't speak much about, the following acts are punishable under this convention, which is genocide itself, conspiracy to commit genocide, direct and public incitement to commit genocide, attempt to commit genocide, and the last one is complicity in genocide. And if you see the Irish government allowing weaponry to go through Ireland, through Irish air, to Israel to commit the genocide, that's called complicity. So it's not only asking for the Irish government to commit to sanction Israel, but it seems like the Irish government is complicit, and according to the Genocide Convention, the Irish government is complicit, so it's within the category of being punishable. However, I don't want to hold you very long, and there are great people coming after me. But before coming now to the stage, I was speaking with a friend, a young journalist from Gaza. His name is Abu Bakr Abid. I know some people here know him or saw videos of him and interviews, but he asked me what's going on in Dublin now, and I've sent him a few pictures of the demonstration, and he directly asked me, if you're going to speak, just tell people that he loves you. And that all the photos I've sent him and the protests and all protesters are coming now here in the cold, you make him happy. And he wishes he could be here with you, and he sees hope with you, with everyone who comes here, and he wishes that you will keep supporting Palestine, you will not let him down. Free Palestine.
Given that the trains were cancelled and he had to get an air coach, and I'm sure he was whisked down by Storm Dara today. Anyway, he's arrived in good order, and I should say something about him from his bio. He co-founded the Ditch with Roman Shortall in 2021 and has been instrumental in breaking very many stories, as we all know, about the Irish government and its complicity with the genocidal apartheid of Israel. And in Cork, we were very glad of him, because in Cove, our local Chamber of Commerce had their annual gala dinner, and who did they invite but the US ambassador? And the Ditch came out with their story. Well, we got out there and we gave them some jip. We really did. We will not let them forget the fact that they invited her to speak in the middle of a genocide while she was warning the Irish government that US businesses would pull out if they had the temerity to pass the Occupied Territory Bill. So thank you, Owen.
How's the form, guys? When I was coming up, I was just thinking about some of the stories that we've done over the last number of months, and one of the stories that we did concerned an Irish airline called ASL Airlines, and they're based out in Swords, and we ran a story about how they were carrying weapons for the IDF from Cologne to Tel Aviv. And when we published this story, a group of local activists called Swords Stands with Palestine, and I mean this in the most affectionate way, they made absolute fucking nuisances of themselves at ASL Airlines headquarters. They showed up and they put their bodies in front of the machine and they protested this company, and they forced them into a statement where they said that they were no longer going to carry these weapons. And I remember speaking to a few of the activists just after this first statement, and we all sort of said, well, look, we'll wait and see. And sure enough, a couple of weeks later, we published a follow-up story that showed that this company, ASL Airlines, having claimed that they would no longer transport these weapons, it turned out that they were using one of their sister companies to undertake that same journey. So what did Swords Stands with Palestine do? they made fucking nuisances of themselves again. And they showed up. And they protested the company, and last week the company was forced into another statement where none of their companies are making that journey anymore. No ASL companies are. And this is one company and it's one group, but it does show that when you do get out onto the street and when you do simply say no, you can make a difference and you can experience these wins. And it also makes me think of when I was reading through some hacked files that came from the Israeli Ministry of Justice. Senior officials in this Ministry of Justice, they were actually anxious, quite worried about the level of pro-Palestinian activity in Ireland. There were briefings about activists in my home county of Donegal removing Israeli goods from Lidl, for example. There was real genuine anxiety about what would happen if Ireland were to pass the Occupied Territories Bill. They were worried not just for the immediate effects of the bill, but for what it would communicate to the world about the apartheid Israeli state and whether other countries would follow suit with other similar legislation. Now, we've also published a story about Pascal Donoghue when he was finance minister, engaging in a secret confidential phone call with his Israeli counterpart in which he promised the Irish government would block the Occupied Territories Bill using a cynical invocation of what's known as the money message mechanism. However much people like Pascal Donoghue and whoever else will form the next government, however much they will pay lip service to the Palestinian cause while engaging in these behind-the-scenes phone calls with their Israeli counterparts to assure them that, no, we won't pass the Occupied Territories Bill. One thing is for certain, that people like us will continue to show up and continue to demand for its passage. And to be clear, this isn't about me or people like me. However, I will say that whatever shame I do feel about being governed by people like Pascal Donoghue and his party counterparts in Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, it's offset by the great pride I feel to share these streets with people like you, and we will continue to do that until we win. And we will win. And Palestine will outlive the apartheid Israeli state. We will be present at its funeral. Thank you.
So thank you everybody who came and marched today. Thank you to the performers, the last of which will be taking to the stage for the last performance of today. Owen O'Cannavale, who you know well, but nevertheless, I want to say he's a singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist. His style builds on his Shannon singing foundations and combines hard-hitting lyrics with other musical influences to create a rich contemporary sound. And he is also one of those musicians of which I think in Ireland we can be very proud, who has used every opportunity, every award ceremony to make a stand for Palestine. So this demonstration is coming to an end, but we will be back, unfortunately, because we do believe that this genocide is going to go on for some time to come. We will continue to be active over the Christmas period. If you ever feel people in the audience, and otherwise, see you back here soon. Welcome all, and thank you, comrades.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much. I'm going to sing a song called Only the Earth, and it gets its name from James Connolly's quote, "Our demands most moderate are, we only want the earth." I wrote this song originally as a song about climate justice, but the more I sing it, the more, for me, it's about colonialism and capitalism as well, because looking at, and I've been singing it for Palestine in particular recently, because if we look at what's happened in Palestine, long before October the 7th, 2023, there had been decades upon decades, since 1947-48, of ethnic cleansing, settler colonialism of the land of Palestine, and not just the destruction of the people, but the destruction of the land, the destruction of olive trees, the stealing of water, the contamination of water, toxic waste being put into Palestinian lands, and obviously this now escalating into what we're seeing in Gaza with a full-blown genocide. The second thing about the song, I think, is this would not be happening without Western imperialism, and in particular the support of the US. The US which supplies the weaponry, the bombs for this genocide. And the reason for this is that Israel is the United States colonial outpost in the Middle East, with which it can help it to control the region and profit from the oil and profit from the natural resources in that region. And the third thing I want to say is that the reason that we're not seeing action from this Irish government, from the government and the government that we're looking into now with more Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, is because they are completely in hoc with US imperialism. The reason that they won't take action on genocide in Gaza is the same reason that we don't have housing here. They're inviting in these big investment funds, these vulture funds, to profit from housing. They're giving away 21% of all our electricity now to data centres, to the likes of Amazon and Google. So all of these struggles are completely intrinsically linked, and freedom for Palestine is freedom for all of us. So only the earth for Palestine. Time is a place I wish I could leave. Tomorrow's cliff looming up at me. Today treading water lost at sea. Yesterday's ghost snapping at my heels. These moneyed men would rule the ashes, and they take your home and melt it down. Gold from the wreck of nature's palaces, and what we have alone they cannot drown. A cry in the hard rain falling, a safe river, a wheezing forest, a choking lake, and a staggering mountain, the bleeding leaves with their open lids, the screaming trees and the sobbing flowers, the seething sea, the crumbling reef, the cliffs shed their tears into the poison ocean, and all get the round to hear our wild sing. It's the last wild song I want to be held. I will love you in the fragments. I'll tie her long to the last time. From the river to the sea, from the river to the sea, resistance is an obligation. Resistance is an obligation. Before the crime betrays the sky,
before they rock us off the dancing wind, before they spark the air we breathe, and we find our voice and they hear us sing, and we find our voice and they hear us roll.
Thanks very much. I'm going to sing a song called Only the Earth, and it gets its name from James Connolly's quote, "Our demands most moderate are, we only want the earth." I wrote this song originally as a song about climate justice, but the more I sing it, the more, for me, it's about colonialism and capitalism as well, because looking at, and I've been singing it for Palestine in particular recently, because if we look at what's happened in Palestine, long before October the 7th, 2023, there had been decades upon decades, since 1947-48, of ethnic cleansing, settler colonialism of the land of Palestine, and not just destruction of the people, but the destruction of the land, the destruction of olive trees, the stealing of water, the contamination of water, toxic waste being put into Palestinian lands, and obviously this now escalating into what we're seeing in Gaza with a full-blown genocide. The second thing about the song, I think, is this would not be happening without Western imperialism, and in particular the support of the US. The US which supplies the weaponry, the bombs for this genocide. And the reason for this is that Israel is the United States colonial outpost in the Middle East, with which it can help it to control the region and profit from the oil and profit from the natural resources in that region. And the third thing I want to say is that the reason that we're not seeing action from this Irish government, from the government and the government that we're looking into now with more Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, is because they are completely in hoc with US imperialism. The reason that they won't take action on genocide in Gaza is the same reason that we don't have housing here. They're inviting in these big investment funds, these vulture funds, to profit from housing. They're giving away 21% of all our electricity now to data centres, to likes of Amazon and Google. So all of these struggles are completely intrinsically linked, and freedom for Palestine is freedom for all of us. So only the earth for Palestine.
Time is a place I wish I could looming up at me. Teenage red water lost at sea. Yesterday's ghost snapping at my heels. These moneyed men would rule the ashes, and they take your home and melt it down. Pick the gold from the wreck of nature's palaces, and what we have alone they cannot drown. Crying the hard rain falling, the sick river, a wheezing forest, the choking lake, and the staggering mountain, the bleeding leaves with their open necks, the screaming trees and the sobbing flowers, the seething sea, the crumbling reef, the cliffs shed their tears into the poison ocean, and all get the round to hear our whale sing. It's the last whale song I want to be held. I will love you in the fragments. I'll tie your love to the last diamond. From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. Resistance is an obligation. Resistance is an obligation. Before the privatize the sky, before they rob us of the dancing wind, before they sell us back the air we breathe, and we find our voice and they hear us sing. And we find our voice and they hear us roll.